fight. They've got some good aura builders. They've got comfortable heroes. So I think for me, BetBoom have really put themselves in the best spot to be able to take this first game here up against OG. But once again, it's OG. These guys are young guns and young mechanical guns as well. I think is the scary thing for me. Like, you're looking across BZM, Amar, as well as Yuragi. These guys, time and time again, have been able to stand up at big tournaments. Yes, they haven't played at TI before, but when they stand up at big tournaments like this is where these guys look really, really scary. And I think at the end of these group stages here, if they're able to get themselves in towards the upper bracket, they're going to be able to flourish. Once they get all those nerves out and have that OG spirit and that OG mantra, I think these guys can do a lot of damage here at TI.
We also shouldn't forget that throughout the year, when they have been looking quite dominant as a squad, most of the tournaments they participated in, they started a little bit cold. It's their adaptation, their ability to grow and learn throughout the tournament that has made them so dangerous. I think it should be said that many of their tournament wins have come from the lower bracket. So this is a squad that knows how to deal with disappointment. So these opening games of the group stage is not going to be a crushing blow against them at all. But we're about to get into it here, Fluke. If they lose this on BetBoom, that's it. We're done. It's over. TI is finished, but if they win, it's still close to over. They literally have to win every single game in the group stage, and they have to hope that other results go favorably for them. Yeah. But it is possible. It can still happen. It's a lot harder to do, though, when the enemy team steals away 3 bounty runes from you at the beginning.
Yeah, as we said, there's a long road ahead here for BetBoom, but the only way you're able to complete a long road is by taking the first step, and this is exactly what they need to do here. They got themselves only 1 bounty rune, so that's a little bit unfortunate here, but they have some relatively good lanes. I'm interested to see how this Snake OCM as well as the Hawk face of Void goes. I think mid lane we've seen a lot of Pucks versus Leshrac, so it's going to be a lane that will probably be able to develop itself, but I think this top lane is going to be all important. I don't want to say OG live or die by Amar, but a lot of the games they do look successful is when Amar is having a very, very good time. So if they're able to enable this Timbersaw here in the top lane, not only do they shut down, like their Faceless Void and force them to play recovery, but if they're able to play fast, then, we've seen what these Faceless Voids do when they're behind and have to play recovery. So looking towards top lane.
Kind of surprising to me that, kind of surprising to me that they got this first pick on the Timbersaw, but they still haven't been able to put any lane pressure onto him. Gonna have a very free time in this laning phase for Amar. And gets even easier because took out the Hawk's Courier, so gonna be a little lack of regen for the next wave or two. But either way, there's pretty much nothing they would be able to do in this top lane anyway to deal with Amar. And this is great though, right? Because it means that Tiger will be able to spend a little bit of time away from Amar without having to worry that he's just gonna get jumped on and die immediately as he makes rotations.
I think the biggest thing for me with Amar having a good time on this top lane is the fact that Tiger's going to be able to go on stacking duty. And we haven't really seen all too many stacks coming in from all too many of these teams, but when you start getting on to stacking duty here, that's when it really starts to get really fun for the Timbersaw. You can start to blow up those stacks, even if they want to give it to BZM as well, they can do that, and they just play this fast kind of tempo, which is what I think they need to do. They've got a Mercer, they've got a Timbersaw. How many couriers is Tiger going to kill? Is that 3 at the start of the game? He's going to die for it, I
think. No, it's actually fine, dude. He's not going to die. He's too fast. Soniqs can't catch him.
There we go.
Does have the mango? Oh, he has a mango. Okay. I didn't know he had it. Yeah, still had a mango in the pocket. Gets it off. Soniqs gets this first blood. All right, that's nice. It's cool. Revenge for the dead animals. Soniqs grabs it. And the first blood, this is also revenge for them taking all these bounty runes, right? You'd much rather have the first blood. It does kind of suck because that'll give the regen into BZM middle because he'll get his bottle refresh, but it'll all be okay. It'll all be okay. But while this is happening, take a quick look down bottom, Fluke. Yuragi on this Ursa. You were talking about how he's going to get to his BKB, Blink, whatever. Is this one of these games where you just go BKB, Swift, Blink immediately just to make sure he can get in on top of these heroes and kill them off?
I think I would enjoy him going something along the lines of, like, he can just go like a Diffusal Blade here. he can get kited up a little bit, but I think, you know, if he's playing the Chaos Creator for his team, he's got the Enrage. If he goes something along the lines of, like, just getting an early Diffusal Blade, then he can go in towards the BKB. Maybe he wants to get a Blink into the Basher. He's got a lot of heroes around him to be able to enable him to play a little bit more greedy. I don't think he has to rush the BKB, but he needs a BKB, if that makes sense, right? Like, he needs a BKB at some point, but I don't think he needs the BKB to be able to just play this game.
Middle lane, Tiger has made a move here. BZM's quite low. He actually went forward with the Illusion Orb, but how little HP he has is going to play a factor in him not really wanting to stick around. I wonder if Tiger's going to be able to ensure that no Water Rune is picked up. Indeed he does. Is he going to deny it or try to pick it up? Just deny it. And BZM not going to be allowed to get the Water Rune down bottom because of Roger. So both 4 positions quickly showing up to be like, well, we're going to keep this mid lane as honest as humanly possible. Just Leshrac versus Puck. And if that happens, Lord is going to win this matchup. BZM's actually almost dead. And indeed he is. Gets solo killed by the Leshrac middle. Underestimates how much damage Lesh can deal at this stage of the game.
He had a Fairy Fire and a 7 wand. BZM, might want to go wash your face, brother. I know it's getting late over there in Singapore, but it definitely shouldn't have happened there. Either way, I do like how both the 4 positions make their way towards the middle lane, and they just say, hey, you can't get runes, because runes are oh so important towards these mid laners right now. Bottom side, though, oh, that was a sick wall stomp.
That was so sick, actually coming in from Noticed. It's not going to be good enough, ultimately, to ensure the life of the Yuragi Ursa, but Misha being able to catch out the Centaur Conqueror War Stomp on both Noticed and Roger enables them to get the kill onto the Primal Beast. And the important part about it is that they got the kill first, and then only... Wait, no, actually the other way around. They lost Yuragi first. Roger died afterwards.
Yeah. So that's actually big for BetBoom, right? The fact that they take down Yuragi, they get the solo kill of Lyle onto BZM in that middle lane. So OG... Yeah, it's definitely not the side of the game that they wanted here. They do have the better of the last instance tonight across their 3 cores, but Lyle is definitely in a really good spot right now. And this is kind of the issue that I had with this Ursa last pick. It doesn't really deal with the Visage, because the thing is with Visage in lane, we've seen a whole lot of this Soul Assumption spam. Yeah, you're able to kind of get rid of the Gravekeeper's Cloak really fast with the Overpower, but Ursa's going to have so many issues early on, just with the amount of damage that this Visage can do. He can always get slowed up by the Grave Chill as well, so... I mean, I think Yuragi is just going to really try and play the mid-game really fast with this Diffusal Blade and really just kind of try and be a nuisance up against BetBoom and kind of just say, all right, this laning phase is going to be whatever. We're going to come into the mid-game, and that's when we're really going to be able to shine. Because I think that's the best part about OG is the way they team fight and the way they play around their macro movements has been something to behold.
Yeah. They only need to get some of those macro movements going.
Oh, what a fat stack.
We have Lara stealing their stacks. They're aware of this. Tigers planted the Observer Ward, and Soniqs just stalling out BZM with the Frostbite. They don't really want to kill him. They just want to make sure as many of these creeps are as dead. But here comes everybody to try and stop this. And yeah, he popped the Invis Rune to make most of this happen. We do have Soniqs thinking about stealing the last one with the Frostbite. This might cost Soniqs his life though. He gets Dream Quilled by BZM. Do they have the damage is the question. Nice onslaught coming in will prevent them from being able to get the full chase going. And Roger has threatened BZM enough that BZM forced to go to the far side of the fight. And there's the freeze Frostbite from Soniqs holding BZM in place. The Illusion Orb, it kills the Crystal Maiden. Will it allow BZM to escape? Yes, it will. He gets a Bounce Rune as well. Gets some additional HP into the bottle. Escaping, he kills Roger's career on the way out. The animal cruelty continues here between OG and BetBoom. And BZM is still alive. Onslaught is back online, but there's the Waning Rift, preventing it from happening. Wait, what? The silence doesn't cancel the... Okay, cool. Alright, fine.
Yes.
Primal Beast interactions, no flop.
So I guess as soon as he's already charging the onslaught, I guess you kind of can't cancel it early. So that's maybe the thing for Primal Beast there. But the fact that BZM got out, it's got free... Oh, Tiger, you're just going to get run down, brother. Oh. That's so depressing when you're playing as a support, you just get run down. Are they going to kill Lyle though? They don't have the Dream Coil.
Oh, but they do have the onslaught and the trample that they hit the turnaround onto BZM. So Neko with the Frostbite, yet again, proving to be a thorn in BZM's side. And now Laurel can activate the Diabolic Edict. But OG, not dissuaded. They're going to keep bringing heroes middle. They refuse to lose the tower this early on. And they are out of resources on the side of BetBoom. So they finally let this push go. The tower's down to a lot less than half HP. So Neko, he picks up a haste rune. If he picked up any other rune, he'd probably be dead. He's still going to die anyway, though. Because unfortunately for him, they have the enchant from Misha. Get the full dispel out. Cancel out the haste rune, get the kill. And Yuragi, his trip was well worth it into the river just to be able to bring down this Crystal Maiden.
Yeah, it felt like it was about 3 minutes of action there. You know, Roger making his way towards the middle lane. BZM, unfortunately, is just not having a good time on this puck. He's kind of getting abused in the lane. He's getting kind of outplayed a little bit with the Primal Beast. He has to kind of overplay his hero a lot with the Illusory Orb as well as the phase shift. This is kind of one of the downsides as these cooldowns are so long. But bottom side, they're just going to be able to take down Misha. Going on to Yuragi as well. It's a big rotation.
One Tiger too, and they've already got him. Yeah. Enrage forced out of Yuragi. BZM was forced to drop down the Dream Coil just to try and bail Yuragi out. But Yuragi might still die here because Dahak has the bubble. Doesn't even need it. Wait, what? How was that a kill credited to Dahak?
Time dilation.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Did it actually connect onto him? Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Just
well, that's going to be a nice little kill.
Yeah, you see
this allows them to take the tower as well.
Yep. They've still got the Chronosphere as well here, Snare, and BetBoom. We talked about the fact that OG can play fast. I think the one shining light for me is the fact that Amara is having a fantastic game. Completely untouched so far. They've decided to just kind of let him be, and everybody else on OG are the ones that's going to kind of run around and goon about. Roger, though, he's definitely dead.
Yep. Yeah. Lots of damage. Way too much damage, in fact.
Battle Fury? I don't know about this. I don't know about the Battle Fury on the Ursa.
Bro, it's fine. Look, Faceless Void bought Midas. It's all good, OG. It's okay. I see no problems here.
I can see the idea behind it, right? Amar's having a very, very good time, so he's going to be able to create space for you. And once you do get a little bit of space and time for the Battle Fury, you can farm really fast on the Ursa. But there's going to come a point towards this mid-game where Yuragi's just going to have a Battle Fury and he's going to have to try and fight into some of these heroes. Maybe the fact that Amar has like a Kaya at 10 minutes into the game is completely untouchable is going to be the saving grace for OG, and they can just have Yuragi's to sit back and farm and get a few more of these items up. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of an aggressive build coming in from Yuragi. I really haven't seen all too many of these Battle Fury heroes work out. I think Ghost, played an Anti-Mage game at one point, and that was kind of the only Battle Fury hero that I've seen do any good. Maybe some of these Troll Warlords have come out on top, but hey, I mean, as I've always said, there's a reason why that Yuragi's here playing TI, and a reason why that I'm sitting in my bedroom talking about it.
Well, he wants aggression. It's not going to come necessarily from Yuragi, but his allies will try to make it happen as they smoke up with BZM and Misha. Let's see where they head onto the map. They know that there should be some BetBoom heroes in their jungle. It's just knowing where exactly is a difficult thing. They don't have any advanced vision for themselves, so they can't actually see the movements coming out from LoL. They're going to have to go purely by game sense. BZM and Misha. They don't have a blink on BZM either, but they do have the Dream Coil. There's three heroes situated around middle, so it's a dangerous place to go because BetBoom, they're coming for this push. I don't think OG can answer this. I think they have to sacrifice the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, and this is the thing as well, is like they don't really have any of these teamfight spells just yet. They've got the Dream Coil, but it's going to be hard for them to walk into this ball that is BetBoom. And you touched on it, they just don't have any of this advanced vision either for the side of OG. To be fair, BetBoom don't either, but they're occupying a few of these areas, so it enables them to have a little bit more of this information. So OG, they tried to get something there with the smoke, but unfortunately just weren't able to connect on it. And Tiger, he's been caught out, and he is definitely dead. Bang, bang, bang.
And bang! Well, he has a piggy pole, so BetBoom was asking, anybody want some bacon? We'll just share his body amongst all of us. He's dead down bottom. They bring down the Leshrac of Lal as well. Probably drawing the line to the tier 2 tower. Having the access to this Visage who's just about to finish the Wraith Pact is actually arriving right now. Wraith Pact plus this Leshrac push. This tier 2 tower bottom could be in danger. BZM. And Amar, the strongest hero for OG, are playing on the other side here. BZM has to drop that down the Dream Coil. It misses entirely though. So I think this was just about getting him into a safer position. I don't think he wants to fight whatsoever. OG in general feel like they just want to dodge until Yuragi gets caught. He wants to dodge, but won't be allowed to do so. He's still alive for now with the enrage, but with frostbite, freezing field.
No
Wait,
damage.
what? They don't have a way to kill him? Are you kidding me? Okay. They couldn't get the Visage Familiars out onto him as well. So noticed, just ends up having to watch Soneko just die instead as Amar finally gets involved in the fray, shows his strength on the Timbersaw, and saves the life of Yuragi.
Yeah, it turns out 80% damage reduction is quite a lot. Missing 80% of a lot of this damage is very, very hard to get through. So Tiger, mate, I've seen this story before. Didn't you die here just 30 seconds ago? I like what he's doing though. The reason why he's doing this is he's just constantly trying to push out this bottom lane. Like him dying on a Shadow Demon is not the worst at all. Like he's just constantly pushing out this bottom lane, trying to get himself a little bit of net worth, because if this lane is constantly being pushed in, then they're going to lose this tier 2 tower and they're going to lose more of this area for Yuragi to try and farm. I like what Amar as well as Tiger are doing. Speaking of Amar, he's caught. They have the damage to kill him, but
They do indeed, and he tries to get away with the Timber Chain. It's not going to be good enough. Lol was right there, right next to him. Didn't even need to pop the Bloodstone for that one. Just heads up, gets the kill. That's their strongest hero on the map on the side of OG. Yuragi and BZM certainly not ready to get involved just yet in full-throated fashion. And BetBoom, unfortunately, doesn't feel like they'll be able to turn this into a tier 1 tower push. They're not getting more real estate out of this, but the strength of their heroes continues to increase moment after moment. And if they keep connecting with moves like this here, Fluke, and they can keep doing this forever, what cooldowns are they waiting for? They have 8 seconds until they have freezing field, and then why not go for another big move like that elsewhere on the map?
very, very true. And that's why I like this kind of 3-man gank squad they've got. And that's why I think Crystal Maiden has been one of the most surprising picks for me. Coming in towards this tournament has been the Crystal Maiden. She just enables so many of these different heroes. Yeah, she does have the mana battery and can be an enabler in that sense, but her spells are so insane. I remember when Purge did the video on Crystal Nova about how strong it is as an ability. At level 1, it's 130 damage. That can hit all 5 heroes, by the way. And it's every 11 seconds for 115 mana. So very, very good hero right now, and enables a lot of these heroes like the Primal Beast and the Leshrac, because simple setup with the Frostbite, relatively long range, and it just enables these heroes to be able to get in range and do the damage they can do as well. The fight of a vision,
Kind of a small fight. They're fighting over this vision to make sure they know who's who in the zoo. It's just sentries that they're fighting over right now, and an Observer Ward finally gets dewatered. This will mean that BetBoom have made sure that OG have a tougher approach to the situation, and they have their own ward deeper into the jungle that saw these heroes coming up the ramp. They might still end up fighting though, as Tiger gets the vision onto Roger, finds the banish as well. That should cancel out the onslaught, and he comes back, he'll buy time with the pulverize, but absolutely no way out of this one. Amar kills him off with the chakram. Sanjin Kaya also completed on this Timbersaw. And do they want to go for Lol as well? Woo! That's a lot of damage onto this Lesh, but now here comes the counterplay. Freezing field into the mass spell damage of Laurel. The Hawk there for a token effort. He'll drop a chrono. He'll just connect onto this Enchantress though. Not any real target noticed in the meantime. Also finding stuns on the right side of the fight onto BZM, and BZM is gonna die at the same time as they lose Misha. BetBoom taking seriously that this is an elimination game for them and showing up in a big, big way here, Fluke. They don't want to go home just yet.
Yeah, I mean, BetBoom are playing insane right now. I think the way that they're moving around the map, they're being able to abuse the over-aggression that comes in from OG. You can see that Amar felt like he was kind of untouchable. When he has his team around him, he's very hard to deal with. They've got a lot of damage they can pump into to Amar, but he just overstepped his bounds. He tumble toys in, and then he chained all the way, and OG just couldn't back him up. They weren't anywhere close to him. He gets caught out by a Frostbite. Tiger once again getting caught out in the bottom side of the map as well, and it's just hard for OG to respond to any of this aggression. That's just 2 supports. Now they might be able to go here onto Yuragi though.
Here comes Lol. Have to be careful about this. They don't have a BKB on the Ursa. He's went too far. He kills Roger, but he's almost certainly going to die for this one. Bloodstone activated. The Enrage was already committed earlier, and Lol now gets himself a double kill.
Amar's outie.
And they're not done just yet. Amar. And he's playing up against one of the worst heroes to play into as the Timbersaw. Once he gets time dilated at some point in this game, he is just going to be hating life. Woof.
Yeah.
This game, Fluke, it's going quite south. Tiger died in a sequel to his favorite movie down bottom. Ursa tried to chase down his killer, but immediately gets burst as well. And I feel like once Amar is forced to retreat from this, because he just can't stay here, What's to stop them from just running headlong into this tier 2 tower?
Nothing. I don't think there's really anything that that OG can do out of here. They've got the Battle Fury on the Ursa, but that's it, man. And this is why I was kind of scratching my head a little bit about this. Like, they were already behind at that point. Amar was their kind of shining light, but now they've already shown that he can go down relatively easily in a lot of these fights as well. And BetBoom understand that they're at this point in the game where they're extremely strong. They can play around their Chronosphere when they have it, but they don't even need the Chronosphere in a lot of these fights now. Like, we've seen what Soniqs and Roger can do together. They do so much damage together as a combination, and as soon as Lyle rocks up, it's OG at panic stations. They need to get out of there. They can't go anywhere near this Leshrac right now, and I think they just need to hold off for a little bit. I think they just need to kind of buy a bit of time. They've got a Battle Fury on their Ursa. Just let Uragi hit some creeps. Let Uragi get towards that next set of items. BZM should relatively be untouched in a lot of these fights unless he gets caught out by things like the Frostbite, etc., etc. So they have tools here for OG, but they just need to make sure that they're not running in before they're ready. And I think that's the biggest thing for them right now is they're feeling pressured to try and get some of these fights going their way, but I mean, they should be perfectly okay. They're only 1,000 gold behind. It's not the end of the world. They haven't lost their tier 2s yet. They're not getting knocked on their door. They haven't lost an Aegis. So, OG, I feel like they're kind of just overplaying their hands just a little bit here. They just need to chill out, relax. They've got plenty of time. More than okay with this game. They've got a good draft. And just get some items.
Just try relax, OG. Just try and chill. Try to get this farm. BetBoom might not allow you, though. I think after they take this tier 2 tower down bottom, it shouldn't take them that much longer before they feel, wait a second, what's really going to stop us going high ground? They'll dream coil us, they'll throw a chakram into us, and then what? Then we drop a Wraith Pack totem, and then we watch them, and then we hit the buildings. So they can make that deliberation, but it is still in a risky part of the game. These heroes are not uber tanky just yet. Tankier than they look, though. And the thing that's quite interesting, as we see on this Faceless Void, he's building the Heaven's Halberd here, Fluke. He knows that they are going into this Ursa, and with the Ursa has built Battle Fury, so he doesn't have BKB just yet. So for the duration of these fights, if you get this early Halberd, he literally does nothing. Like, you really cannot participate whatsoever if you do emerge with this Heaven's Halberd in the fight, with Lol dishing out damage from afar with his BKB active, suddenly denying BZM an effect in the fight as well. So BetBoom, I think as much as OG's game is not over just yet, I could conceivably see a world where in the next 5 to 6 minutes, BetBoom is inside the base, destroying tier 4 towers and daring OG to come and fight them to challenge for the game.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this is going to be an interesting scenario because BetBoom now are at the point where, as you said, they've got a lot going their way. You know, Lyle now, he's got the boost of travel up, Heaven's Halberd. What do OG really do when these items start to come up? We see, you know, he's getting to the point now where it's really feeling like it's going to be hard for OG to try and win these next couple of team fights. I think a shining light for me, though, here, Snare, is there is going to be a few items that are going to come up on the horizon. I think once they get BKBs, they're going to be happy. BZM's getting close towards that Blink Dagger. So they definitely have ways of getting through it. Interesting enough as well, Tiger is rushing an Aghanim Scepter. So having multiple uses of the Demonic Purge, also having the Demonic Cleanse as well. So being able to get Amar away from things like Frostbite, getting Amar away from things like the Time Dilation is going to be big for them. It's a permanent purge that happens every so often. So the way that you're able to utilize that onto Amar means that he's kind of untouched. And I think that's the crazy thing is it's going to get to a point where if they get that Aghanim Scepter and the Aghanim Shard, he's able to constantly be able to be inside these fights, and it's going to be very, very hard at that point for BetBoom to deal with him. Yeah. So there's a sunny horizon. There's a sunny horizon. Yeah.
Sometimes, though, the horizon is very, very far away, and it turns out just to be a mirage. So they need to make sure that they can invoke this reality and make it a winning game for them to send BetBoom packing. At the same time, OG aren't just playing to try and send BetBoom packing. Currently, they are sitting in the middle of group number A, and they need this victory here to get closer to the upper bracket. If they end up losing this series and they go 7-9 for the day, then suddenly going into day number 4, they have an all-important game against the side of RNG, and that could really determine if they start the playoffs in the upper bracket or start in the lower bracket, dealing with the BO1 gauntlet. OG hasn't been in that situation before. And yes, the organization has done really, really well in the past from lower bracket runs, but anything can happen in the BO1. For example, if this was a BO1 and OG lose, and it was a playoff game, they'd be going home. So Anything can happen. And you can see on the player cams here, OG, they do not seem like they're calm about this game. This seems like it's just as stressful as it looks, basically, because fun is not being had right now in the hands of OG.
Well, yeah, and I think it's kind of an interesting tale that we haven't really talked about all too much. Is kind of the fatigue from a lot of these players. Like, it's a long day for us here on the casting, 5 best of 2s. But same thing with the players. It's not like you really get to turn off once these group stage games start. So you can kind of start out the day if you have your first series at the start of the day, and you have a series now like OG as well as BetBoom towards the end of the day. That's where you're really looking towards, your mental capacity to try and stay into it. Like, how focused are you going to be? You need to make sure you look after yourself throughout the day. And especially if you have some bad results, like that's when it really starts to get to you. And then I feel like, when we talk about the pressures of TI, that's one of the big things, right? You guys are playing for millions of dollars. And I guess I'd imagine, maybe not so much on the players themselves, but as an organization, OG, as we said, have done really, really well at a lot of these tournaments and a lot of TIs. And maybe there might be a bit of that outward pressure that starts to get felt by everybody here, just saying, OG come into this tournament, they look like they're in really, really, really a red-hot form. They've been able to do really well at international tournaments in the past. What are they going to look like at TI? And now coming into this group stage, it's the middle of the pack. I still feel like they can get upper bracket from what we've seen from them so far. They're able to pull it out of the hat and get towards the upper bracket. But there's a lot of outside factors when it comes to Dota 2. Sometimes the game is only a fifth of it, and everything on the outside of it is exactly what's starting to help and hinder these players.
Absolutely. It's a stressful environment. There's a lot happening. The game itself, you have to worry about your team members, where their personalities are like, where their mental states are at. In a different country, we don't have any, unfortunately, local Singaporeans participating in this year's TI, even though we do have several players from Southeast Asia. But so many different things go into winning these TI games. And also these pauses, let's be honest, right? The thing about Dota 2 as well, we've spoken a lot over the last few days, Fluke, about how it's a game that's based in confidence, a game that's based in mentality, but it's a game that also has a lot of momentum attached to it, not just for bracket runs, but the game itself has a feel. Playing, you say, cool, this is when the next phase of the game has to happen. This is this particular timing I'm trying to reach. This is what my opponent should be trying to do right now. Hey, they're probably playing around a ward that's probably in this area. The longer these pauses go on for, the more difficult it is for you to get that read back into your mind about what the game looks like. The feel of the game gets gone. Then you have to spend at least like a minute or two just reacclimating to the game environment. And especially when it's a losing game like this, that can be extremely difficult for the side of OG, because you're spending the time paused talking perpetually about how do we come back, how do we come back, how do we come back. And that stuff can get to you once you actually come back into the game itself.
Yeah, exactly. I know we're having a relatively serious talk about, the mental states of some of this stuff. I was looking over at the player case and I see Amar basically asleep on his head. And I was just like, I feel you, bro. I feel you. It's like getting close towards midnight here on the eastern coast of Australia. In Singapore, it's roughly about 9 p.m. for these guys as well. So it's starting to get late. It is really starting to get late. You can see outside of the windows of the hotel room, it is completely dark there over in Singapore. And they are just having a little chat with each other. Hopefully we can get the Hawk back into this game. Hopefully we can try and get this all sorted out, ladies and gentlemen, because we definitely want to see how this works out, because we talked about it. It's all important. And it's all important because it's TI, baby. Now, we've been having such a good time. I think this is kind of our recompense for the amazing games we've had so far. We've had, 70-minute bangers. Yeah. We've had, rapiers. We've had EG versus Liquid. We've had LGD coming out and raffle stomping people. So this is kind of our recompense for that. I think we've had a pretty good time so far at TI, and now we get one of the pauses.
Yep. Now we have to deal with one of these long extended pauses. To be fair, yesterday we also got a bit of punishment. We had to deal with a game that had Arc Warden, Alchemist, and Lone Druid all at once. It was complicated. It was painful. It wasn't the best thing ever, but kind of lots of cringe.
Kind of cringe.
Lots of cringe in that one.
Yeah, it was kind of cringe, and I think some of these teams picking the Arc Warden is definitely a little bit interesting. I haven't really seen it do all too much. I think it's kind of like one of those heroes that I don't want to say it's like kind of a gacha pick, but I think Entity are playing it really, really well, playing it as like a second core and being able to utilize it that way. But hey, I mean, if we see Arc Warden at TI, we see Arc Warden at TI. We're not going to escape it. I think the beautiful thing for me is that when I was looking back at that, I want to see if I can count these heroes that are unpicked. What are we at right now?
Isn't it like 10, I think?
1, 2, 3,
I think
4,
it's like
5, 6,
10 heroes.
It's 11. So there's 11 heroes right now. So Bounty Hunter, which I think should be picked. Klink's terrible hero. Dragon Knight. Yeah, whatever. Io. Whatever. I mean, maybe we might see the rest of these heroes. Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
It's going to be a long tournament. There's still a lot of group stage Dota to play, and there's still the entire playoffs to go through. But for now, as you all saw on the player cams, because we are having a bit of a technical issue with one of the computers, we've swapped in the machine. So to give them an opportunity to get back in the game proper, we're going to take those to a short break. When we return, though, Game 1 of BetBoom versus OG, a very important series, will continue. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back as soon as the issue is resolved. So stick around until then. Welcome back, one and all. We are back in for game number 1 between BetBoom and OG. The technical issues have been resolved and the game can now recommence. So let us resume the action, get back into the map, and see where things stand right now. Because of how long the pause was, I think BetBoom's concentration was affected as well because they abandoned the potential push down on this bottom lane. Instead, they're thinking about focusing on this Roshan here, Fluke. I don't know if they can take it quickly, but they really are thinking about it. It's under consideration right now. Would you make this move if you were them?
Yeah, I think they had a long deliberation in that pause, and I think that's kind of something that, as you said, affected their decision-making. When you have these pauses, it gives you a little bit of time to talk about the game set and how you're going, but it's going to be an interesting tale here. They do not have Chronosphere for 10 seconds, so yeah, they're going to have to try and abandon this one. They don't want to overstay their welcome here. They want to try and make sure that they can get a few more of these kills because a lot of their cores are much stronger. That's why I like this fake back smoke. What they're going to do right now, if they can get a pick or two, they can complete this Roshan.
Tiger's the one that's showing himself through middle.
Oh, Tiger,
smoke will pop onto him. Tiger, it's a sequel to the movie that we played out in the bottom lane as he gets taken down again in this mid. That's going to be noticed on a dominating streak. Now they bounce back all the heroes on the side of OG. I mean, BZM had to go back to base because he was out of mana as well. And with Roshan being as low as he is and no access to Tiger, which means no save, I don't think they can contest this Roshan anymore. Then I have to let this one go here, Fluke. And it's always a painful decision. When you're playing the Ursa lineup and you end up losing out on the first Rosh, that just hurts more than anything right now.
Yeah, it definitely feels bad. That is feels bad, man, if you're an OG fan right now. They're not in a good spot. They're running 2k behind, so it's not like literally the end of the world, but losing out on the first Roshan, and now they're sending the aggression here onto Amar. They have the Chronosphere. I like this scan that came out as well. They don't want to overstand their bounds just a little bit. I like what the Hawk was doing there. They threw out their scan to see if anybody was tipping towards the tier 1 tower, because they don't have the vision behind it just yet, whereas OG are the ones that have a lot of this defensive vision. They can try and defend this tier 1 tower if they want to. Amar's going to do a good job by cutting the creep wave. What are they really going to do here? They can do a lot of work with the Leshrac, but that's about it. So right now, Dahak with this Heaven's Halberd just leads me to believe that BetBoom want to constantly fight, right? Like we talked about it a little bit before the pause happened, that having this Heaven's Halberd means that Yuragi is going to have a pretty rough time, especially pre-BKB. So if they're able to have these fights going the way that they can and constantly get on top of OG, then BetBoom can really start to take advantage of the map.
Yeah, BetBoom currently 1k gold lead. It's getting higher and higher, and especially with how much scarier Lol is becoming on his Leshrac. He's opting not to go straight in for the BKB as the Hawk. He doesn't have to go BKB either, buying Maelstrom. He's like, well, at this stage of the game, who am I really afraid of? Not afraid of much. Notice is going to protect me with this Wraith Pack. Boy! Shout out to this Visage, and Noticed, but making this last pick Visage for the draft look a lot better than many Visages have looked so far in the tournament. Been everywhere on the map, involved in a bunch of kills, was very influential in the laning phase as well, but more importantly, he was able to group up with his team very, very quickly. Some of these Visages that we've seen, even if they had good lanes, don't come out of it being able to utilize the gold gained to make their team stronger. But Notice has definitely been doing that. Now they're going to come in. They got the Aegis and they're going to take this tier 2 tower. They might be able to also get a kill onto Misha. Pulverized by Roger, demolished by Lol and Roger. And that's going to be a tower taken down bottom, a tower defended middle, and a bonus sprinkle of an Enchantress kill.
Yeah, just getting the extra bit of gold is always nice. Defending the tower is exactly what they want, right? They want to try and keep a stranglehold on this map. I would like to see them get a little bit more of aggressive vision. They've got a nice little ward here up towards the dire triangle to at least see where Yuragi and the boys are headed. Speaking of Yuragi and the boys, they have a BKB now on the Ursa. So he is at least able to try and get this team fight going, and I think these next couple of fights are going to be oh so important for BetBoom. If they choke some of these team fights and Yuragi turns around and gets himself like a double, and OG come in and try and clean them up, then this can start getting spicy here for BetBoom, because OG have shown in the past their prowess of team fighting, their prowess of this macro movement in the mid game. And I think BetBoom need to make sure they're clean and concise with the way that they are working through this map and the way that they are getting the rest of these kills and finishing this map off.
Will find themselves in at least a decent position. They don't get de-warded as OG are trying to reclaim control of their own jungle.
They found them all.
Vision plopped down. Found them all. But, you know, they can't kill him just yet. Not enough heroes nearby, but the Hawk has the bubble. What do you use it to stall him off? Just wait for the right clicks right now. They prefer the stone drop and the bashes for free as we get the onslaught charge in into Pulverize. Isn't that supposed to be their strongest hero on the map? My god, the Hawk putting rest to that idea. And now with that big kill, what are they going to do elsewhere on the map? They already isolate that. Wait a second, we've gotten a tier 2 tower down bottom. We're going to push through tower middle, link down with bottom, and then maybe go for a high ground siege. Lol
BZM
just wants to kill BZM. BZM, is he going to get bubbled? Yes, he will. Bubble! No bashes this time around, though. He finished them all on Amar. He used every bash in his arsenal, so BZM will be allowed to escape unless he gets a first hit bash. No, he won't. So BZM will live.
Gaimin giveth and Gaimin taketh away. That was an interesting tale of a few bashes there, and he's got BZM once again. He has the time dilation on the towers. It's not going to do that much damage.
Time dilated BZM. Yeah, BZM should live here. They got the towers middle though, while this was also happening. BZM trying to TP out. Still no bashes. The Hawk really did finish one of his bashes on Amar.
Even our observer's getting a little bit tilted with how the time lock is working. He like quadruple bashes Amar, and then he goes and needs literally one extra bash on BZM. Doesn't get it. I don't know, man. Sometimes Faces Void is the most broken hero in the game, and sometimes you feel like your ulti doesn't even work.
Other times you're like, well, this is not the content I signed up for as bottom. I'll be able to find a 2-hero Dream Coil onto the Crystal Maiden and Laurel.
It's a lot of BKBs
for them to isolate Notice. BKB has been popped by Amar to go forward onto this one. They find the demonic purge out onto this Visage. Notice is in danger. Tries to turn around with the solar substance.
Oh, the Heaven's Halberd.
Chrono is not available, but they do drop the Heaven's Halberd onto Uragi. He pops BKB though to try and continue this chase. Notice somehow still alive. Where are the bashes? BKBs are expiring though, so now suddenly Dahak is becoming more dangerous. Uragi, he went around the world to try and isolate Notice. They finally kill him with the help of BZM, and now all of a sudden we are going to see if Dahak and Lal can clean up the rest. Unfortunately, they've expended so many resources. The magic damage of Lal will be more than enough to deal with BZM. And they really went all in for those kills on the Visage and the supports, and they get them. But it doesn't come for free as BZM goes down in the process.
Amar got a lot of gold out of that fight. I think that's actually pretty good if you're OG. Yeah, you're losing your puck in a lot of these fights, but Uragi and Amar are the ones that are staying alive. We see, have a look here at the replay, that they just don't really have that much damage. And this is what I talked about beforehand with BetBoom, is like they need to make sure that they are winning these team fights concisely, because these BKBs come out and it's very, very hard for them to deal with it. Lal is the scariest hero on the map by far, and if they haven't been able to kite out Uragi too long, he does a lot of work with that BKB. Yeah, he, you know, eventually was able to kill out on the Visage, but at that point, they weren't able to clean up there onto Uragi, and OG, they're slowly fighting their way back into this. They're only 2k behind. I don't think they're going to have too many issues once they start getting a few more items onto Amar as well as Uragi, so OG fans, don't despair just yet.
It's a tough game, but we've seen OG make a sort of career out of winning tough and impossible games.
Yep.
Right now, they are behind it. They've lost 2 tier 2 towers, both in bottom and in middle. But there's a lot of recovery options, especially with this Ursa continuing to get farm. With this Battle Fury, it didn't work out initially, but slowly but surely, if he stays alive throughout all these fights and keeps farming, you know, Dahak has his hand of Midas to try and make sure that he buttresses his own net worth, but he has to be constantly using it and not always fighting. We can see this Ursa try to match the net worth. In fact, he's much further ahead of him than I thought he would be. But they're going to try and fix this now. BetBoom, looks like they're preparing for a smoke. They have the bubble back online in the Chronosphere. They have themselves access to the level 2 Visage Familiars, and Lal just picked up a Shiva's Guard. So this would be a pretty decent time to try and make a big movement. But do they have the vision is the question, Fluke. Who are they going to go on if they do try to make a move?
Oh man, I really think BetBoom need to try and get another kill onto Amara Uragi. I think at this point, BZM is just playing the park. He's still relatively high on the net worth. He's got an E-Blade. Where did BZM get this farm from? Like, I think the way that OG are being able to play the map, they've been doing a really, really good job at just finding farm across the map, even though they've been behind. That's why every single time I look up at the net worth difference, it's only been roughly about 1 to 2k. So BetBoom felt like they were the strongest heroes on the map, but they just haven't been able to accrue that into a massive net worth lead. So if they can find Uragi here, if they can find the Amar, then they can really start to take control of this map. But BetBoom, they're going to run into Misha. What?
Oh, that is so satisfying. Whenever you're playing POS 5 and you run into 5 heroes ganking, oh, Misha must be smiling from ear to ear at the moment. Tells Uragi, listen man, dish this area, go farm the jungle normally. BetBoom don't seem like they want to give up on this. They're in two minds, right? They want to go chase for more. They know that getting Misha alone isn't enough. But at the same time, they also know that Roshan is coming back soon. And they'd like to be in position to try and intercept him. Unfortunately for them, it is not an immediate spawn. Only going to be coming up in another 45 seconds. But at the same time, OG are now aware of this. They've popped the scan in the area. BetBoom controlling the triangle. They need to get some vision out here as well before they go into the Roshan pit. But Rosh might not be as easy to take as last time though, because OG are now in much better fighting shape than they were before the last Roshan push happened.
Tiger has the Aghanim Scepter and Aghanim Shard now as well, so they've got access to this demonic
Where are they getting this money?
I don't know. These guys have been doing a really, really good job at just keeping the farm up right now, and they drew the line. They knew that Roshan is the fight here. Chronosphere is available. Who wins the team fight?
I think so. Overrise goes on to Tiger first. That's a big target, but Roger taking quite a bit of damage. And here comes the Chronosphere. It's on to 2. They burst down the Tiger Shadow Demon first. And now they're trying to put the work onto Uragi. But Uragi got off the BKB. He's turning onto Laurel. Laurel getting blown apart by Uragi and Amar. But they run out of the BKB, so Uragi will end up being soul assumptioned into the grave. In the meantime, in the north part of the fight, BZM tried to run away, but got chased down by Dahak and Roger. As the Faceless Void cleans them up. That's 4 heroes down. And without any kind of ability to stop this, Amar's going to have to just go and farm while BetBoom claim yet another Aegis.
Yeah, massive team fight there from BetBoom. I thought Roger was dead to rights. He was oh so low. The Chronosphere came in there from Dahak, and look at the win probability. Rocketed ahead for BetBoom. They're doing a beautiful job right now at just playing these team fights perfectly. There was so much damage that come in from Amar. He has the Aghanim Scepter as well here on the Timbersaw. And he's actually so hard to deal with in these fights, but they understand that. They just kite around Yuragi, they try and take him down, they get him stuck in the Chronosphere. The Ursa doesn't have time to stick on top of people, and OG stuck between a rock and a hard place here. They've got a lot of items, and they've got a lot of gold that's been able to accrue in towards this game, but it's just so much extra experience going the side of BetBoom. Their team fight's just a little bit stronger as well, and just getting caught out by the Chronosphere, just not really being able to have the team fight on their own terms.
Sort of budgets the point about, oh gosh, Misha, but he's buying space for Yuragi to jump in on the backline, but Yuragi can't blow up the Visage. Misha will die to the magic damage of Lal. Lal trying to chase down Tiger as a second. Yuragi forced to run away from Dahak, but he runs into the waiting hands of Roger, who pulverizes him, holds him in place, and Dahak with the double damage rune beats him to death. 3 heroes gone. Did cost the life of the Visage, who was the initial target, but who the hell cares? Dahak and the gang, man. They're actually going to go and chase for Amar. They fight him inside the dire jungle here. Roger has the onslaught, goes in onto him. BKB activated by Amar, just going to try and buy space in time. But unfortunately for him, BKBs are not permanent in this game. He will be able to dodge the split earth, but can do nothing about the pulverize. At the very least, kills off Roger. But probably not worth it as he loses his life. On the bright side here, Law was trying to push through in the tier 3 tower in middle, and him coming back to kill Amar does mean that more time is bought in the game, but that's still not what you want to see as a fan of OG. But if you're a fan of BetBoom, you're ecstatic right now, because at the moment, Fluke, they're still in TI.
Yeah, they're playing really, really well. They're team fighting really, really well. They're utilizing a lot of their spells in good succession. I think the biggest thing for me is the target priority is really, really good here. Every time Yuragi is kind of isolated by himself, we saw what happens when BZM... Oh no, Tiger. It's always sad when you don't have like a way of dealing with a hero that just gets on top of you. It definitely does feel very depressing. But kind of back to my point, when BetBoom understood that they went on notice. So BZM as well as Amar jumped in towards the backline to take down the Visage. He bought so much time with his own stone form, and they just isolated Yuragi. This Ursa by himself feels very, very lackluster because he gets Chronosphered, he gets, halberted. Like, it's nothing against Yuragi. He's just going to have a rough time here because of the amount of tools they've decided to build and use. Oh my god, the Hex.
Hex, but Aeon Disc just gets reassembled here. We did see Dahak considering dropping the Chronosphere onto his head. Decides against it, as their primary objective is complete. The first lane of Rax gets taken in the top side of the map. And BetBoom, they still have this Aegis for a significant portion of time on Laurel. He's out here chilling with another 2 minutes to go, and just picked up a BKB on this Leshrac as well. So they might not actually be done just yet. Look where they're going. They smoke to bottom, and they are ready to try and catch anybody out who's trying to force a push onto the bottom tier 2 tower.
They don't have vision of this. They're just going to go up raw. I haven't been able to find anybody just yet for OG.
Time is money.
And now BetBoom, they're both smoked up, and the vision for the side of BetBoom, the general vision that they have for OG is they've seen what Roger's been able to do, but now they get privy to the information.
Feels good, man. Soniqs dies for the cause. Always nice. Also, did you say up row on purpose because of the Primal Beast in this game?
I feel like I've done that on purpose, not on purpose, like 3 times today. Someone did tweet at me that they did find my mucking about with spiders joke pretty funny, so shout out to that guy. I do appreciate when people find my cringe jokes funny. Always warms me up inside.
OG. Their fans were warmed up by the kill onto the Soniqs Crystal Maiden, but not warmed up enough to start feeling positive about the game. It's still a 10k net worth lead. It's still a massive experience lead. It's still a 98% win probability and climbing in favor of BetBoom. So what's the biggest comeback we saw? We had a 96, right? That was the Gaimin Gladiators comeback.
Yeah. I would be interested to see what the 74-minute game that Moxie and Waga casted, what the kind of win probability was for that. Because I'd imagine if it's a game that's like 74 minutes, I imagine there's going to be some pretty big swings in that game. But yeah, 96 has been the best that we've had so far here. Tinu and I, so 98%. Might be a bit out of the wheelhouse here, but I'm never ready to count out OG, especially with the heroes they've got. They've got Ramar Timbersaw, who can do a lot of work. We've seen what Pucks can do late game as well. So I'm not ready to say that OG are out of this just yet.
I've spent many years betting against OG. It's not been a good experience for me, as they finished the Scotty for Tahak, with the BKB for Roger as well. This was the one item that they were lacking that you don't get from the early on, and this will give them the confidence to smoke up here, Fluke. Gonna go look for a fight. As you mentioned before, they don't have that much vision on the other side of the map, so they are going into this one with very few ideas of where OG are at. Laurel, happy to go in the forefront of this. Doesn't have Aegis anymore. He jumps up. He gets caught in with the Chrono because they're buying him space and time. Uragi in the BKB. It's about to expire though. Laurel popped the Bloodstone as well, so he gets back all the HP he lost initially. And there's a Split Earth onto so many heroes. They've killed BTM. Amar's going to follow him into the grave as well. Tiger brought back with Misha almost instantly, but he might just be sent back on an express trip to the fountain. It's gonna be a dieback for the support Shadow Demon. And BetBoom, they already have a way into the base. They're not bothering with another lane of racks. They want to end the game. Buyback from Amar, but what can Amar do here? He doesn't have his BKB anymore. Doesn't have any allies either. And OG, they've been in this position before. They've put other teams in this position before. They know the game is over. GG, well played is called. BetBoom have another lifeline into TI11. Their journey is not over yet. If they win one more, Fluke, they can go into tomorrow with hope of entering the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very small chance, but it is